How's it going, everyone? My name's Shane. Welcome back to the Horror Basement and our second annual Pride Month special. Now, last year I started this tradition by reviewing Stranger by the Lake, which is a very artfully shot French film depicting uh, love, danger, and murder at a nude beach that is a hookup spot for gay men. This year, I am going in a slightly different direction to celebrate the merry months of June, and we're looking at a film from the ever popular subgenre of lesbian vampire movies that came to prominence in the 1970s. Today, specifically, we're looking at the American and Mexican co-production Mary, Mary, Bloody Mary from 1975. Now, this film follows our titular Mary, who is a young American artist. She does paintings in the surrealist, like Dali-esque style, although slightly more pedestrian. And she is traveling across Mexico in her VW bus van when it breaks down at an old abandoned mansion. So immediately the movie is setting up Mary to be the stereotypical damsel because a man emerges from the shadows of this mansion and proceeds to chase her around for the first few minutes of the movie as tense and frightening music plays. But this is the first subversion this film has in store for us, because the man is actually Ben Reiner, an absolute golden retriever of a man who just wants to make sure Mary's okay. And for the after their first night spent still sleeping separately, Ben fixes Mary's van, and they go on a whirlwind romance around Mexico together. But as Ben sleeps on that first night, we learn through flashback that Mary is herself a vampire and has already killed a U.S. embassy employee that she was trying to sell one of her art pieces to. Later the next day, Ben and Mary are on the beach enjoying a day, and while Ben goes out to find a fish for them to eat, Mary herself finds a fisherman and manages to drug his coffee and also kill him and drink his blood. Now, after this, we finally get back to Mary's home, which she has set up in Mexico, and Ben basically moves himself in, becomes her live-in boyfriend, and spends a lot of this middle part of the movie kind of just following Mary around, doing what she says, carrying, artsy statues and paintings around for her, just being a, supportive, supportive himbo source of energy in her life. Now, the problem is that rich art dealer lady named Greta is also madly in love with Mary, and this is where we get the one obligatory, not even lesbian like sex scene or anything, but just interaction between Greta and Mary at the first basically party in honor of Mary's art. Greta tricks Ben into going out and buying more tequila, so he stumbles drunkenly out into the city, and Greta almost immediately takes Mary home, gets her undressed, and starts professing her deep and undying love for the beautiful Mary. But unfortunately for Greta, Mary has other things on her mind, and once they both disrobe and get into the bubble bath together, Greta makes her move and goes in for a kiss, and Mary immediately slits her throat and drinks her blood. Now, the one thing that I think, other than the scene with Greta, that gives this movie its queerness or its street cred to be honored as the Pride Special movie, is how the first half of this film really subverts the expectations of women in horror movies. Because her interactions up to this point, with in the very beginning of the movie with Ben, she is the stereotypical woman getting chased, and then we later find out that she is actually the vampire, the predator. With the embassy employee, this is a creepy, older guy who purely viewed her as a sex object and then got killed for it. And the fisherman viewed her because she is this pretty young white lady. He viewed her as a completely harmless tourist, and that also got him killed. So, and then you got to remember, this movie came out in the mid 1970s during the the golden age of the serial killer, where predominantly cishet white men were viewed as these sources of danger, these predators that go out and kill at random. And seeing a movie portray a female protagonist as that source of danger is, I'm not sure if it was intentionally subversive on a gender, as far as gender roles go, but give the movie credit for that. And unfortunately, that kind of narrative falls apart in the second half of the movie, with the introduction of the Man in Black, who is another vampire running around in a full black trench coat, black fedora, and black bandana over the face ensemble, which we learn to actually be Mary's father, who she believed to be dead. And in the great climax of the movie between Mary, Ben, her father, and the two cop characters who I have not mentioned because they're not important to the movie, who have been kind of tailing Mary and looking for the killer the whole time. In this great final battle, Mary's father reveals himself and reveals that the sickness, the vampirism, has caused him to go insane. And in his last act, in an attempt to gain salvation, he is going to kill himself and Mary to rid the world of the vampire plague. But unfortunately, that does not work out for him, because Ben actually does save the day, killing Mary's father. And as they embrace, Mary kills Ben and feeds on him before, in the very last scenes of the movie, driving away alone to return to America and continue her vampire killing spree. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, the first half has some interesting gender twists to it. But really, it was interesting watching a movie that was entirely filmed in Mexico and also has long stretches of the movie that are completely in Spanish with no subtitles. So a lot of the subplots going on, I only kind of was able to understand through physical acting, which kind of interesting. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. I believe I watched it on either Amazon Prime or Shudder. I can't really remember. But definitely give Mary Mary, Bloody Mary a watch. And everyone out there, thank you for supporting the channel. Enjoy the rest of your Pride months. Just like last year, I managed to squeak this in the very last week of June because I'm bad at procrastinating. Enjoy Pride. If you liked this, leave a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.